What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Aha as we continue through the second disc of the 20th Anniversary Edition of Analogue, and I'm very excited for this one. Now, it's The Fine Blue Line, and if you notice a difference there, the album version, the one eventually on Analogue proper, is A Fine Blue Line, whereas this demo here is The Fine Blue Line. So I don't know if the change in indefinite article to definite article has any significance. I can't necessarily see how that would make a major difference from the version that eventually was on the album, but I did notice the difference in title. And yes, I think this is a very beautiful song, and I do have a memory, and again, this was early in my Aha journey, probably like 3-something years ago now, but I remember that some people who didn't always comment in the Aha reactions, I'm thinking of Mark in particular, commented that this was a favorite of theirs. I think it was universally regarded as a beautiful, if also a bit melancholy or sad tune. And to the best of my memory, a lot of people said you can see this through the prism of Mags and Paul's relationship, looking back to a time when perhaps the rapport between them was still more open and they would share or discuss ideas, and their working relationship was better. Now, again, thinking about Foot of the Mountain, it feels like the storm was still yet to come, or a bigger storm was still yet to come. But number one, I think it is reflective of Mag's excellent songwriting and the way he finds a way to mix the beautiful with the melancholy. I do think also there's definitely like a 60s vibe, maybe even a bit of a Beatles vibe in the sonics, and I do remember, there's like strings, so there's a bit of an elegance, but also it does have a bit of that like 60s rock kind of vibe to it. So yeah, I think it's a sonically beautiful tune. I think it is, to the degree I remember it, a very Mags type of song lyrically, which I probably didn't fully understand at the time, and not that I fully understand it now, but in the intervening period I've gone through Mag's solo material, and I've re-listened to some songs that I know now in the Aha catalog he's written, and so yes, I feel like this is very much his territory thematically, and it is also, a bit heartbreaking to think about, how they grew up and they were good friends, and then through the trials and tribulations and successes and difficulties of Aha, that relationship became not what it was before. So yes, it is a song that I think has a profound meaning even outside of their story, but knowing that there's probably a lot here in this song that's about their story, and maybe Aha in general, but specifically Mags and Paul, I think there's a gravity to the song. So I'm curious to hear, sonically, of course, if there's any difference, or if this really does have kind of this early rough cut demo sound. And also, I'm just wondering about the title, though again, I don't necessarily think there's much to take away from the difference between A Fine Blue Line and The Fine Blue Line. But either way, let's give it a listen. This is from the second disc of the 20th Anniversary Edition of Analogue. This is Aha and The Fine Blue Line demo.
Take a look and see what's become of me. Remember how it used to be. People that we'd meet were falling at your feet. Didn't even see it. Well, time marches on ahead. Enough said, there's only one way through it. Time marches on ahead. One day we'll see it. How there's a fine blue line. each other's blues, gave each other looks, like we couldn't trust ourselves, and we knew it. So tell me where you've been, and I'll show you where you're going. You can shout, you can scream your way through it. Well, time rushes on ahead. Enough said, that's just the way we blew it. Time marches on ahead. One day you'll see it. Love is a fine blue line. Time races on ahead. Enough said, that's just the way we blew it. When time marches on ahead, one day you see it. Love is a fine blue line running through it. Running through
I like that end especially. So, okay, first of all, I feel like in the broad strokes or general construction of the track, it's very similar to the final version. Now, it does sound maybe a bit less produced, but I would not go so far as to say it sounds like a very rough-edged demo. It doesn't feel like there's, a lot of work to be done. It feels like there's most of the vibe and the stylings of the final track. And indeed, at the time, if you just heard this and you hadn't heard the eventual album version, you wouldn't have that basis of comparison. But even knowing what the eventual album version sounds like, I don't feel like this is, again, in a very minimal, kind of undeveloped state. It feels like the real meat and bones, if you will, of the track is there, even if generally it does feel like it's not as full or lush. It's almost like it went more for a slightly stripped down style. Now, having said that, the vibe of the track, again, it's in a very similar place. Morton's vocals, as far as I can tell, are quite similar, although at the end there, that psychedelic effect on his voice. I mean, I remember not only, I think, commenting in my own impression of the album track when I did that reaction, but I think people commented that the latter part of the tune does feel a bit more like psychedelic. And I think at the time I associated with that kind of 60s rock where it was sort of beginning to get into a realm where, psychedelic rock, maybe not, fully or by that name, but where some of the rock had a bit of that kind of wavy atmospheric feel to it. The end part of this demo version felt like even more like that. It felt a bit more psychedelic, even if overall it wasn't quite as full or as Beatles sounding for that matter. So yeah, the progression of the track, the vibe of the track, sort of the main components of the track all seem there, but they hit a bit differently. They hit maybe slightly less full, and the latter part did feel a bit more wavy and psychedelic, especially with the affected vocal from Morton. But again, I think the lines in the track are very well written, and again, they speak to this, like, there's nothing we can do about it. I think about then, but here's where we are now, and there's this, sense of the passage of time, the effects of happenstance and choices, and the perspective on it all. So again, I think it's a very well written tune, a very Mags written tune, and yeah. So like even in this state, if they had released it, I think it would have been a very good tune. Even if my first impression here is that kind of the fuller, slightly lusher version on the eventual album is probably preferable or superior. But again, it didn't feel like this is let's just get into the studio and get something recorded. It feels like they had a lot of what they wanted to do with the track already in this version. So let me know if you disagree, let me know what you think. And we are getting into the, last quarter or so of this second disc, so I'm looking forward to see. And it seemed like, by the way, the line was still a fine blue line. So it's almost like here, using the definite article, it's just like putting a label on it. It's like, love is a fine blue line, and then here it's like the fine blue line. It's like describing it. So it's not like quoting the lyrics directly, but describing it. Whereas in the final version, I guess it was like, let's just take the line itself and make that the title of the track. So either way, I am very much enjoying hearing, once again, the developmental creative process by hearing these demos, and at least in one case, a track that, never saw the light of day before. So yes, very much enjoying this, loving the AHA journey still. I appreciate all those who are still here for it. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in a moment for another live AHA song. Peace.